Hello, my name's Todd Summerall, and I decided that I was going to do a video explaining how I went from 325 pounds down to 185, at one time 175, and I'll get into all that in a minute. But first, I wanted to introduce you to Sweet Pea, my little Yorkie here. And she's a big part of the story. I call her God's little helper in helping me lose weight. So I didn't script this out, but I did make some bullet points. You see right here. So hopefully I don't miss anything. This story, the story of weight loss, this journey of weight loss of mine started in January 2021. Now, back when COVID was a thing in January 2020, just prior to COVID, I weighed 285, and during the shutdown of 2020, I ballooned up to 325 pounds. So I put on quite a bit of weight during that time. Let me put her down. She's wanting to get down. And it was an eerie time, COVID. COVID was an eerie time. And this takes me into my story. I really want to talk about how I got to be obese like that, 'cause that's what it is. In reality, it was obesity. And what was done about it. Now, my story revolves around God and Jesus Christ. This is not going to be a preaching sermon, but they are integral. They're important. I can't pronounce that other word right. They are important in this story because literally God is the reason why I've been able to lose the weight. Now, during 2020, the shutdown of 2020, I lived at the end of Pensacola Regional Airport, or actually it's Pensacola International Airport now. And I used to be able to sit in my backyard and watch planes fly out just all day long, right? And then it comes and shut. You want to talk about something that is eerie? Is seeing no planes come out of the airport for months on end. That was eerie. That was scary. That whole COVID thing was very scary to me. Now, prior to uh, 2020, well, let's say up to 2020, let's go back. I was 17 years old. I was one of your high school rebels, very much into drugs and alcohol and rebellion. And somehow Jesus reached out and saved me at the age of 17 years old. And that, for a little while, it lasted, but I would slip back into drinking and drugging and so forth, so on. And when I was about 26 years old, went through a horrible divorce, got mad at God, and I have that on my testimony on a video on another channel. But to make a long story short, I got mad at God, and I basically turned my back on Him and went and did my own thing, and occasionally would come back to Him as a fire escape. I was reaping what I was sowing, and the consequences got to be too much, and I turned to Him as a fire escape. Fast forward a little bit, I ended up having a very successful business for a long time and made a lot of money. And with that money, I did things like I bought my toys, the four-wheel drives, the boats, on my own home, all this kind of stuff. But most of the money, or I say most, a big part of the money went on drugs, alcohol, bar hopping, chasing women, and eventually getting married to one of those women. And that was a huge disaster. She was uh, bipolar. I believe it's type A. Is that the worst one? Type A or B? And that was a huge disaster. Lots of drugs, lots of alcohol, lots of uh, living a pornographic life, etc. Just really bad, and it all caught up. All that caught up with me, and we went through a divorce, and And then I went on, kept doing my own thing, and landed a good uh, landed a good job, making a lot of money as a website manager, managing contractor websites, and this is at the point where I'm living at the end of Pensacola International Airport, and my drinking had gotten so bad uh, during COVID, because when COVID come, I quit my job and started just trading stocks online, and my drinking had gotten so bad that I was having to get up in the morning and drink, a couple drinks pretty quick just to get rid of the shakes and that horrible feeling. If any of you out there ever been completely enslaved to alcohol, you know what it's like. It's just the most horrible feeling in the world. And then, of course, when you're drunk, if you drink 2 drinks, well, you don't stop there, and you just repeat that cycle over and over. So at some point, and this is during 2020, during COVID, I'm scared of COVID, and I start bleeding internally, and I'm filling up the toilet with blood. And I just knew I was going to die. I didn't know what to do about it. And I knew I was going to be separated from the Lord when I died, because, face it, I lived a despicable, decrepit, unholy, dark, in rebellion against God life for all these years. And, I didn't deserve any mercy from God or nothing. And here I am. I'm obese. I'm bleeding like crazy on the inside. I'm a slave to alcohol. At this time, I had quit the drugs and just became straight up drunk. And my life was a complete and total disaster. Just complete, total disaster. And I cried out to the Lord. And I said, Lord, I know I deserve to die because of the way I've been living. I said, but before you kill me, make me yours again. Because I remembered what it was like when I was in my younger years, when he first saved me. And you know what? He did. He extended his mercy to me. He saved me. He reached out, rescued me, and I was able to quit drinking pretty quickly. And he just dealt with all of that. And I quit bleeding internally, and so for about a year, 2021, I'm going on, it's marching on, and I'm still, obese. I'm at 325 pounds at this time. Still obese. It's hard for me to get around. I was in church, but I couldn't walk very far without needing to stop, catch my breath, without my lower back hurting me really bad. I was just in bad shape physically. And obesity, anybody who's obese knows it's not good, unless, of course, you're delusional. And there are some delusional people out there celebrating obesity, but that's not the point of this video. Obesity, for most people, they know it's something very bad. It's not good at all. But yet, like myself, find themselves in bondage to eating the wrong things, eating too much, eating. And the catch-22 on this whole thing is, when you're obese, in order to maintain your weight, for your body to maintain, your body wants to maintain that weight or put on more. It requires more and more food. So I'm coming up to December of 2021, and the picture on the thumbnail I have is of me when I was obese is from Christmas Day at my brother's house. I wasn't planning this video. I didn't document nothing. These some old pictures, the only ones I got. I got another more recent one from a video that I had made on some protein cupcakes that I make. And I'll throw that picture up there. But I'll throw these pictures back up here so you can see again what I was, what I am now. And towards the end of 2021 in December, I wanted, I loved the Lord. He'd rescued me. I mean, I was so grateful, so thankful, and I wanted to share what He'd done with me. But I knew my being obese was going to be a hindrance in that, because I know instinctively, if someone calls themselves a Christian, The rest of the world expects something different from a real Christian. They expect someone who has some self-control over their lives. In fact, that's the Bible says that's the fruit of the Spirit, self-control. So I knew my being obese was going to hinder being able to share Jesus Christ with other people. So I prayed about it, and God pointed me to a verse. That verse is 1 Corinthians 10:31. I'm going to read it. He says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. And I knew that my eating and drinking and being obese was not bringing God glory, and that it was going to be a hindrance in being able to work in his kingdom. So I knew he wanted me to lose weight, but he wasn't condemning me about it. He wasn't hollering at me about it. He wasn't saying, lose it or else you're no good, or none of that stuff. He's just pointing out some facts. He says, look, your eating's not bringing glory to me. So for me, that is the foundation of how I began to lose weight. And it is looking outside of myself and looking to the Lord, saying, Lord, I want to bring glory to you. And in order to lose weight, I'm going to need you to help me. He's not going, God's not going to make me lose the weight that I need to lose. I'm going to have to do that, but he will help. So I started the journey on January 1st, 2022. Now, ironically, this is how it started. The church I was going to decided they're going to do a 21-day fast. Now, this isn't 21 days without eating, period, kind of thing. Matter of fact, everybody's free to choose whatever kind of fast they want to do. And there's several different types of fasts, biblical fasts. The most common is sundown to sundown fast. That means you eat your evening meal and you don't eat again until the next evening meal. That's the one I chose. I said, all right, Lord, if we're going to lose weight, I'm going to go on this fast, and you're going to have to show me. I didn't say it in the exact words, but it's what I was feeling. You're going to have to show me that you can help me do this because I can't do it. And those who are in bondage or slave to food, because that's what it is in reality, it's slavery. Know the struggle it is with losing weight. I knew that it was going to require a lifestyle change for me to lose weight. It wasn't enough just to lose weight. So I went on this fast, and at the end of those 21 days, I lost 20 pounds. And that encouraged me a little bit. So after those 20 days, I got online and I started learning about calories. And I started learning about good calories, bad calories, ugly calories, how they all work with the body. And I went to calculator.com and used their calorie calculator. I put a link in the description below to figure out the amount of calories I needed to keep myself at to lose weight sort of fast. A couple pounds a week was my goal. For me, it was 1,500 calories a day, excuse me. And that's what I went with. And so most days for a year and 8 months is what it took me to lose all that weight, a year and 8 months. Most days, that's where I stayed at, 1,500, 1,600 calories, somewhere around there. And of course, there was off days, especially around Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatnot. And, it's just impossible to not eat when you have all that good food all over the place all of the time. So, but for most days, that's where I was staying. And I was learning, and I decided to, after that fast, I decided, well, I need to start doing a little exercise. Now, the issue I had with exercise was walking. From here to our mailbox is about 100 yards out to the road, from our front door out to the road. And I'd walk out there to get the mail, and my lower back would be in so much pain that I would have to stop at the mailbox for a minute or two and just let my back calm down so I could turn around and walk back to the house. And I knew my weight was the reason for this pain, which I thought that was the reason at the time. I come to learn after I lost the weight, that was exactly the reason for the pain. So I decided, I need to start walking, and that's where Sweet Pea, that's why I wanted to introduce you to Sweet Pea to me. She was a little puppy at the time, about 6 months old. And I said, all right, we're going to start walking her. So I started walking her a half a mile a day. Now, on that half-mile walk, I would have to stop 2 or 3 times and sit down for a little bit in the ditch because of the pain that my back was causing. But after a few months, I started, I started losing weight, and my back was getting stronger, and I continued on, and finally, I was able to do the half a mile without having to stop. So I decided, okay, at this point, we'll start doing a mile. And same thing on the mile, I'd have to stop, you know, 2 or 3 times during the trip, and until the point where I didn't have to anymore. I was losing more weight. So she was my little helper. She was God's little helper for me to begin to lose the weight. Well, in 2022, I decided, when I was younger, I had lifted weights. And when I was in my late 20s and early 30s, I was a regular gym rat, and I'd lift weights quite a bit. And I knew from what I learned back then that lifting weights and gaining muscle was a calorie burner that was even better than cardio, better than walking. So I started lifting weights. I'm going to take a minute and show you my little makeshift gym I have here. You see I got a bunch of weights over here, uh, weights over here, weight bench here, weights behind it, and some more weights over here. I got lots of weights. And so I added weightlifting. So I added weightlifting to my schedule, and I'm still to this day weightlifting. I'm lifting 6, 7 times a week. Typically just one muscle group, except on my arms day, I'm doing 2 muscle groups: arms and back, arms and uh, uh, biceps and shoulders and triceps and back. I group them, and I do those twice a week. But anyhow, that's what I'm doing. I'm lifting weights, and I'm riding. I got me an electric bicycle, and I'm using pedal assist on it, and I'm riding it 3 or 4 times a week, 20 miles. And I've added exercise to the whole thing. So what I've learned through all this process is, when it comes to weightlifting, is if you're on a calorie deficit, it's about impossible to build muscle. It is about impossible, but you can get stronger. And about a year after I started the weightlifting, I decided to start adding protein to my diet, which has turned out to be a real blessing because protein helps with the hunger pains big time. And before adding protein, I would get to points in my weightlifting where I just stalled and just can't seem to push through it anymore. And I added protein, and I started being able to push through. Now, I'm 3 months from the time of this video. This is November of 2023. February 2024, I'm going to be 60 years old. So I don't expect to put on massive muscle gains, not at this age. But I do want to stay in shape. I do want to be in shape for a 60-year-old, and I am in shape right now for a 60-year-old. Uh, I just recently worked a peanut harvest for the first time in my life. The dirtiest, hardest job I ever worked. I worked at a processing place where we took the peanuts off the trailers and that the farmers were harvesting, and dumped them in the pits and loaded them up in the elevator and put them into semi trucks or into a warehouse, depending on where they needed to go. Me driving my big green Tesla. And that was the dirtiest, hardest job I think I've ever had in my life. Thankfully, it was only about an 8-week job, but it was rewarding because here I was, 59 years old, doing the job that 20-year-olds were complaining about not being able to do. It was wearing them out, and it didn't bother me. It's because I had taken the time to stay in shape. Now, those of you who are Christians out there might think, we shouldn't stay in shape, or we shouldn't do anything to keep in shape. I disagree with that strongly. I believe our bodies are the temple of the Holy Ghost, and we should do what we can to keep them fit for God. That's number one. Number two, Paul specifically says, that's Apostle Paul, he specifically says, physical exercise profits a little bit, and godliness profits for all things. So godliness, living a godly life, is number one, numero uno, living godly. But he mentioned physical exercise profiting a little bit, so you can't leave that. As a matter of fact, those who do the math know that the apostle, or say that the Apostle Paul walked somewhere between 15 and 17,000 miles spreading the gospel during his lifetime. That's a lot of exercise. He was a fit man. And I think God wants us to be fit too. I don't think obesity pleases him, though I know that he's not condemning anybody for being obese. But he wants his people in shape. He wants his people glorifying him in their eating habits. So that's my story, and I'm thinking about maybe in the future uh, making some videos on some of my exercise routines for a 60-year-old. I'm not in it for the bodybuilding. I'm in it to be physically fit. So if that would be something that interests you, how about letting me know? Uh, I do have a couple videos that I've already made on this channel about protein cupcakes I've made. I'm gonna tell you, protein, big deal for me, and I buy it. I buy the 5-pound jugs of it at a time. I'll get 3 or 4 of them because I'm baking a lot with them. I like making protein cupcakes and drinking protein shakes and putting protein on my cereal and just protein to make sure I get enough to help with my weightlifting and to help with the hunger. Protein, there's a lot of protein in these things, very little junk in the shakes that you drink. So I encourage you, if you're obese, start learning about calories. Learn about the good, the bad, and the ugly of calories. Look at some YouTube videos on how to get in shape. How, and look at your diet not as a fad, not like a keto diet or intermittent fasting diet or any of this kind of stuff. You need to get a mindset of a lifestyle change. And in order to do this, I encourage you to look for something outside of yourself to give you the motivation, because ourselves, we're a mess. We're not good motivation enough. So, of course, there's some people, you got videos on YouTube, people losing massive amounts of weight uh, and their motivation with self. I mean, it can be done, but there's others out there, that their kids didn't want them dying because they got diabetes or whatever, and they were able to lose weight and the diabetes went away. I had diabetes at one time. I was taking the metformin. I don't have to take that no more. I had diabetes. I had all kinds of physical problems. Maybe one day I'll show you the health records because I got them in print. So anybody wants to say, "Oh, that's not true," I can show them in writing my physicals, my blood work, and all that kind of stuff. My body was a mess from the alcohol and the obesity. I mean, the in 2019, before COVID, my doctor told me, he sat me down and says, "Look, you need to get your house in order. You're not going to be around much longer." And he was dead serious. And COVID 2020, couldn't get to the doctor because they were shut down. 2021, I had quit drinking and lost uh, probably about 50 pounds, 30 or 40 pounds at the time, and quit drinking. And my blood work he goes, "What in the world's going on with you?" He says, "At first, when I looked at this, I thought I had the wrong patient's blood work. And then my high cholesterol is not high anymore. The diabetes is gone. Fatty liver is gone. The liver enzymes are not elevated anymore. All this stuff that was wrong with me, God's healed me of, and He's healed me through a miracle of His grace and mercy, and through to quit drinking alcohol and to quit eating uh, wrong, and losing the weight and all that. So God has mercy for people who want it. Now, the Bible is very clear. This mercy is for those who will come to Him. He's not giving it to everybody. He's giving it to those who will come to Him. So I encourage you, if you're going to go for weight loss, if you're obese, first thing you need to do is quit lying to yourself that it's okay to be obese. It's not okay. Second thing we need to acknowledge is that it's going to It's not going to feel good to lose weight. Your body is not going to like it one bit. It's going to scream and holler and kick the entire time. Hunger pains, whatnot, temptations, all that kind of stuff. But if you set your face and your heart is flint, and especially those of you who call out to God for help, will find the help. Third thing we need to do is not lie to ourselves during this weight loss thing. I remember the other day, I was talking with someone who's obese, about 100, 120 pounds overweight. And I was making coffee and they were making tea. And we were putting that uh, low, low calorie Nestle's creamer in our drinks. About 15 calories per serving, 3/4 teaspoon is 20 calories for about a teaspoon. That's about what we were putting in, about a teaspoon. So we're adding 20 calories to this, uh, to our drinks. And this person said to me, this is why I can't lose weight here is because of this. And I was thinking, I didn't say it out loud, but I was thinking, you might drink 6, 8 of these, so you're adding 1 to 200 calories to to your to your food and drink during the day. 1 to 200 calories, while at the same time with the sweets and stuff that you eat during the day and all the bread and all that, you're tripling that per serving, and you're doing these servings 3 or 4 times a week. We got to quit lying to ourselves. It's not the little things like your creamer you're putting in your coffee or your tea that's causing a problem. It's the big things. It's the rotten calories. So we need to look for those calories that contain a lot of sugar and say, hey, it's got to go. Things like that. It's got to go. We need to add some exercise to our diet too. We're not going to like it. Like I said, it's not easy. It's not going to be, there is no quick pill. You could take speed pills, maybe blow up your heart or something. Might help you a little bit. But without the lifestyle change, you can lose the weight. You're just going to put it back on. These fad diets, the keto diets, whatnot, you lose the weight, you put it back on. Very few people are able to maintain uh, the weight loss without the lifestyle change. And that's what we're going for here, lifestyle change. That lifestyle change includes learning what the good calories are, learning what the bad calories are, learning uh, the calorie intake you need to be at and count calories. Start counting calories. There is no other way to lose weight other than a calorie deficit, period. There is no other way. Protein's not a magic pill. Even your amphetamines that can be taken for weight loss are not a magic pill if you're not reducing the calories. If you're not taking in less calories than what you're burning out during the day, then you're not going to lose weight. So, so I hope this has helped. If this has encouraged you and you think should add some more videos, how about letting me know? And I will certainly be happy to do that. All right, everybody, you have a good day.